April 28, 1945. Berlin is a city of ghosts, a smoking ruin under relentless Soviet bombardment. Deep beneath the Reich Chancellery, in a damp concrete labyrinth known as the Vorbunker, Adolf Hitler is about to begin his final 48 hours. The world above is collapsing, but down here, a bizarre and surreal drama is unfolding. What really happened in those last moments? Let's uncover the truth. By this point, Hitler was a shadow of his former self. His left hand trembled uncontrollably, a symptom of what historians now believe was Parkinson's disease. He was stooped, his face pale and puffy, and his infamous charisma had dissolved into fits of impotent rage. His world had shrunk to the confines of the bunker, a claustrophobic space filled with the smell of diesel fumes, damp concrete, and desperation. Day began with a shocking betrayal. News reached the bunker that Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, and one of Hitler's most loyal followers, had been secretly trying to negotiate a surrender with the Western Allies. Hitler flew into one of his most violent rages. For him, this was the ultimate stab in the back. He ordered Himmler's liaison officer in the bunker, Hermann Fegelein, to be brought before him. Fegelein, who was also the brother-in-law of Hitler's longtime mistress Eva Braun, had been caught trying to flee Berlin in civilian clothes with a suitcase full of cash and forged papers. Enraged by Himmler's treachery and Fegelein's desertion, Hitler had him stripped of his rank and summarily executed by a firing squad in the Chancellery Garden. This act sent a chilling message to everyone in the bunker. There would be no escape, no surrender. Loyalty was absolute, even in the face of certain doom. As night fell on the 28th, a strange sense of calm, almost like a party, descended on parts of the bunker. But in Hitler's private quarters, the mood was grimly practical. Around midnight, a minor city official named Walter Wagner was escorted into the bunker. Why? Because Hitler had decided to get married. In a small makeshift ceremony, Adolf Hitler married Eva Braun. Joseph Goebbels and Martin Bormann acted as the witnesses. Eva had been loyal to him for years, and now, in the face of death, he was finally making it official. The celebration was brief and macabre. A small reception followed with champagne, but the talk was not of a happy future, but of suicide. Hitler calmly spoke to his secretaries about the most efficient way to end one's life. Immediately after the wedding, Hitler dictated his final political and personal testaments. The political testament was a rambling, self-pitying document. He blamed the war on international Jewry and expelled disloyal figures like Himmler and Göring from the Nazi Party. He appointed Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz as his successor, not as Führer, but as President of the Reich. In his personal will, he explained his decision to marry Eva and to take their own lives. He wanted to avoid the disgrace of deposition or capitulation. Their bodies, he ordered, were to be burned immediately. April 29th was a day of goodbyes. The atmosphere was thick with a mixture of fear, fanaticism, and alcohol. Hitler made his final rounds, shaking hands with the remaining staff, doctors, and military officers. He thanked them for their service. He even visited the casualty ward set up in the Chancellery cellars, a rare moment of seeming concern for others. He had his favorite dog, a German shepherd named Blondie, poisoned. He wanted to test the cyanide capsules that the SS had provided and ensure they were effective. He couldn't bear the thought of his beloved dog falling into the hands of the Russians. The other dogs in the bunker, including Blondie's puppies, were also shot. Throughout the day, reports from the front line grew more dire. The Soviets were closing in, their tanks now just a few hundred meters from the Chancellery. The battle for Berlin was in its final bloody throes. The sound of artillery was a constant, deafening roar, shaking the very foundations of the bunker. Hitler was informed that his forces could no longer hold the city. The end was no longer a question of if, but when. He received a message from General Weidling, the commander of Berlin's defense, stating that they would run out of ammunition by the next night and the fight would be over. That evening, Hitler held his last military conference. It was a pointless exercise. There were no more armies to command, no grand strategies to devise. It was a meeting of ghosts, going through the motions one last time. After the conference, he went to his secretaries Mrs. Jung and Mrs. Christian and gave them each a cyanide capsule. He told them he was sorry he couldn't give them a better farewell gift. The final day, April 30th, Hitler and Eva Braun had a last meal around noon. It was a quiet affair, a simple meal of pasta with a light sauce. Afterward, they emerged into the main corridor to say their final farewells to the inner circle. Joseph and Magda Goebbels, Martin Bormann, his secretaries, and a few others. The mood was somber. People were crying. Hitler shook each person's hand, mumbling a few words. Then he and Eva retreated into his private study. The door closed around 3:30 p.m. For a few minutes there was an eerie silence, broken only by the distant rumble of war. Then, a single gunshot. After waiting a few moments, Hitler's valet, Heinz Linge, and Martin Bormann slowly opened the door. The smell of gunpowder hung in the air. Hitler was slumped on the sofa, a gunshot wound to his right temple. A Walther PPK pistol lay at his feet. Eva Braun was next to him, but she hadn't used a gun. She had bitten down on a cyanide capsule. Following Hitler's explicit instructions, several SS officers carried the bodies up the emergency exit stairs and into the bombed-out Chancellery garden. The garden was a crater-filled wasteland, still under shell fire. They placed the bodies in a shallow bomb crater, doused them with about 200 liters of gasoline, and set them ablaze. As the flames consumed the bodies of the Fuhrer and his new wife, the small group of onlookers, including Bormann and Goebbels, stood in the bunker's doorway and gave a final stiff-armed Nazi salute. The fire didn't completely destroy the bodies. The Soviets would later find the charred dental remains, which, along with eyewitness testimony, confirmed their identities. Down in the bunker, the spell was broken. Some began planning their escape, while others, like the Goebbels family, prepared to follow their leader in death. The next day, Joseph and Magda Goebbels would poison their 6 children before taking their own lives. The final 48 hours in the Fuhrer bunker were not just the end of a man, but the end of a terrifying ideology that had plunged the world into darkness. It was a surreal, almost theatrical conclusion, filled with betrayal, bizarre ceremonies, and cold, calculated death, all playing out underground while a world war raged to its cataclysmic end just a few feet above. The story of the bunker is a stark reminder of how a regime built on hate and delusion ultimately consumed itself in a bunker deep beneath the rubble of its own making. Thanks for watching. If you found this glimpse into the final moments of the Third Reich fascinating, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history's most pivotal events. See you next time.